Another episode of awesome investigation, interbulation, and other things that end with shun, I'm sure. So we are in the beginning of the Hollywood Hills right here, making our way over to that amazing location of limousines and movie stars. I'm sure there's going to be limousines and movie stars today. There has to be. Hello. Welcome. So, here you see some nice hill areas here. And there's our target in the distance. But we're going to take a little bit of a different route today getting there. And we're going to be talking about the recent escalations and the fact that Scientology now has gotten into that kind of stage. Yeah, it's really a nice day after our torrential rainfall and rain that would not be that big of a deal in many other locations, but here it is a natural disaster. So, that's one thing about having what is arguably the world's most perfect weather, that sometimes when it's anything but perfect, everybody is getting a little wimpy. Maybe they need to get their TRs in. And the ubiquitous sound of LA, the leaf blower. Here we got some nice rosemary and lavender. Stuff grows like weeds here. 70s and blue skies, where are you at? Florida or something? Hey, UK. I bet you don't have 70s and blue sky, especially if it's evening time. So Prince Harry made the world's quickest journey to England, I see. Had about a 15-minute meeting with Dad, and Dad said, get the hell out of here, and that was it, huh? Maine, wow. That's shocking. Nice weather in Maine in the winter? That's pretty cool. Oh yeah, NorCal is still 50 in Pennsylvania, not bad. Minneapolis 51. Damn, this is becoming a weather show. 51 in Minneapolis. That must be like a heat wave for you guys in February. So yeah, the aftermath of the storm here. My car got somehow flooded, and now I have to find the crack that was letting the water in, but my whole 44 in Maine, okay. Yeah, I can't see how water got into my car, but it did, and it was like puddling on the floor and blew out my back speakers, so that's a bummer. But, the thing in California is, like, whenever it rains, you gotta say hallelujah. You gotta be happy about California rain, because when I got here almost 4 years ago, it had been, I don't know, the end of a 7-year drought or something like that. And then I did a little voodoo, as one does when one is a channeler of aliens. I don't know if you made the Glarzok show the other day, but yeah, that was a shit show getting it together. in the beginning, but yeah, heat wave. Iowa, 62 in Iowa. Damn. I guess it rains here and everywhere else gets warm. And it's not even cold here. It's like people who are acclimated to the California weather. I still have my New York thing going slightly, so I'm not sitting there in a down jacket, huddled, shivering when it's 50 degrees, like some people here. But yeah, Scientology is starting to lose their shit, and that's what they do at this period of the game. There have been other rounds of Scientology drama in the past, and you know, when they don't know what else to do, they resort to violence. No, I wasn't planning on being at the courthouse, but if you can send me the information, if you know which building. I was going to go for another, what was it? There was something a couple weeks ago, and I was looking it up. Maybe it was a Danny Masterson thing, I'm not sure. But I was looking it up, and then it just, like, I couldn't find the what courtroom it was in. And I did a search of the name. Now I don't even remember what the case was, but anyway. A lot of these things, it's kind of like if everybody else is there, I'm not. And that might not be a good strategy in terms of viewership, but I'm just not the guy to be chasing the crowd to everywhere they go. And no problem for the crowd. I just feel like, well, they got enough cameras on the situation, and you know, yeah, the drama is something I try to minimize myself, because I'm looking at good evening or afternoon. For us, it's about 1 p.m. here in LA, so it is the middle of the day. And here we are at the glorious Scientology Celebrity Center International, in case you were wondering. Hey, yeah, everything escalates fast, and you know, they basically count on deniability, kind of like Richard Nixon, right? It's like, do we have deniability? Do we have the ability to deny, even though there's a pattern? You know, Scientology can always say, well, we got nothing to do with that. There's all kinds of homeless people roaming the streets, and yeah, there is a lot of crime, and you know, if Confident Chris happened to get beat up beyond what would happen in a robbery, when people get what they want, they generally don't keep swinging after that. And I don't know all the details of the situation. I was not there, but I have been, you know, keeping tabs on it a little bit. And oh, the way to happiness, precept number 11, do not harm a person of goodwill. But what would a person of goodwill be? That must be somebody who's definitely not an SP, right? And so it's like when they supposedly got rid of the fair game, which is the policy of attacking anybody against Scientology. You know, at the bottom of it, there's a little asterisk like, well, this doesn't apply to SPs. So SPs are fair game. SPs are the essence of what fair game is all about. Now I got myself looking back over my shoulder. But, you know, just because I'm a big dude over 6 feet tall doesn't mean I'm immune to the crap they could dish out. But I'm also not one to give up that easily. And so I was looking up on the internet, like, what do the dreaded psychs say about lashing out? In Scientology, there's nothing worse that you could be than a psych, right? And so obviously their opinions count for nothing. But yeah, he talked to the guy. Well, it was like a lot of robberies where somebody's like, a lot of robberies start with like, can I have $1? Just like any panhandler. And then they get you talking, and then maybe you slow down or you engage them, you want to be polite, and then they escalate. And most people don't escalate. Most of them are happy to get $1 off of you. Maybe you give them one and they ask for another one, and it's annoying, but most of the time they're not going to actually attack you and send you to the hospital. But you can imagine for a lot of people who are homeless, who have nothing, and who know that they will not be locked up for any extended period in LA, that basically they're not going to get caught, most likely. And if they do get caught, they're probably going to get a little slap on the wrist, and that's about it. Well, it wasn't the same. It wasn't Pitbull Man. If it would be him, and I forgot the guy's name, but I'll just call him Pitbull Man. If it was him, everybody would recognize him, and the identification would be too easy. So yeah, I really don't think it would have been him, but I didn't see it. It wasn't on there. Oh, right, Patrick. Yeah, Patrick Perry. Yeah, I don't even like giving the guy this much of a shout out. So the first reason, according to the psychs, and this is by a psychologist, Dr. Monica Borschel, in Psychology Matters, the first thing is self-protection. Self-protection is the number one reason that people lash out, according to traditional psychology. And that seems pretty logical. You lash out when somebody's attacking you or something, sure. But the thing is with Scientology, they are so paranoid, and they have such a cult mentality where they're always feeling besieged by the outsiders, that anything that is not pure Scientology talking points propaganda is seen as an attack, is seen as something that causes a need for self-protection. And so Scientology's always feeling like it's under threat. Oh my God. I hope you get better, Chichikana. That's, I don't really know what that is. I've heard the name, but sounds bacteriological to me. Yeah. Well, thanks for being sweaty and gross on my behalf, because that is a great thing. Private property, no trespassing. See, they feel besieged. They feel under attack at all times. And the thing is, if they just sat here and had little church services on a regular basis, like a lot of religions, or if they had meditation retreats or whatever, everybody's there for you, Chichikana. That's pretty awesome. That's the vibe we're looking for here. Not this vibe in front of us. Where's the limousines? I think we need some limos, not just like this shitty van. That's the same van they use for transporting prisoners. That can't be right. That would indicate that maybe Davy's slavey Navy is just as slavey as we always thought. Transporting everybody in a prison van. Davy, get your TRs and PRs and all kinds of R's. Get them together. Look, you could... Phone camera you're using... No, I'm not using anything. I'm just... it's a Samsung older model, not new. But you know what? I did forget. Wipey. But I know you said it's sharp and everything, but every time I think, I got to wipe off the lens before I start, and I never remember. Yeah, it's like a Samsung Galaxy A42, I believe, something like that. But, well, yeah, there probably are handcuffs there, yeah. It's really... Well, what I was going to say is Scientology has enough money that they could literally get limos and transport the Sea Org slaves around in limos and go under awnings and be really, they could make it look good is what I'm saying. They could bullshit a little better. Got the multilingual chat going. I love that. Okay, just don't put any Chinese characters because then I'll have no chance of seeing if you're talking about me. So anyway, yeah, the first reason that people lash out, and I'm applying that to cults as well because, cults are kind of comprised of people. The next thing is past trauma. Now, everybody in Scientology, everybody has past trauma. Like, let's be honest. But in Scientology, what happens is they tell you that whatever they did for your trauma fixed it all. And so if you still have... Right, they should show off, right? Spend some of that money. That in Scientology, you have to fake like you got a healing. It's kind of like certain faith healing preacher situations, right? When they have a big crowd and they're like, there's this peer pressure. But in Scientology, from my understanding, I've never been a Scientologist and I'm not bullshitting about that, that what happens is at the end of your auditing session, you have to report a win. And if you don't report a win, I don't think they let you out of the room. You are in a slavey navy, at least temporarily, if you do not report a win. So you got to pull something out here, and you got to report a win. And then they write it down. And they say, well, you worked on this trauma, and you cleared it all away, and it's all good now. But the fact is, no, you didn't. Because Scientology works on the most superficial levels and mainly mental. And they don't do a lot of emotional processing. They do a lot of actual emotional suppression. And they just, it's under the carpet. They sweep everything under the carpet. And then they all pretend it's part of the love bombing vibe that they keep going back to. The thing is, when you do a love bombing thing, in a relationship, in a cult, whatever, in a company, what you do is you bring people into this amazing love vibe, and then when they question anything about how things work, you guilt them into thinking like they're ruining this amazing love. You're killing the atmosphere by not going along. And so that's what they do here, that they'll be like, anytime you don't do what they want, anytime you don't buy that next course, or you don't make up some win or whatever, it's all pretending, right? And I'm not saying, well, it's not all pretending, but it's a huge amount pretending. I'm always careful not to say the wrong words and not, I don't know. My academic background, I'm always thinking like, okay, can't say all, can't say 100%, you got to leave a little caveat. And then I remember, this is not, I'm not defending a dissertation here, so thank you. Giving compliments through all your nasty sweatiness, that is really going above and beyond. Taking time out to give a compliment. Yeah, but I try to give Scientology any credit they deserve, even for stupid things sometimes, just to be like, you can't say that I'm the one doing all the propaganda here, right? I'm not propagandizing here. I'm informing. Yeah, exactly. It's totally like the Hotel California. And the thing is, it's even worse in a way, because you can physically check out, but you can mentally, down to your soul, you can never leave. And the thing is, it's kind of true, because even when people leave, it follows them, not only Scientology following them and messing with them and sabotaging their lives in various ways. That definitely happens. But also, it's just something they can't shake. It's a mindset. Like when Aaron was saying, I couldn't go out there and protest, because I remember what it's like to be a Scientology. And I remember what we used to think of those protesters. And it was like, I don't want them to think of that about me. And then after a while, he's like, what the hell was that? What was I thinking? Why would I care what they think about me? But, that's for somebody who's been out of Scientology for a long, long time. But, there's certain mindsets that just follow you around. It's like if a parent told you something wrong when you were a kid, and you found out they were wrong, but then you keep, it keeps kind of popping up in your head, even though, when you take a second and you realize, the earth doesn't go around the moon or whatever. That kind of thing, right? If you watch a dog poop, come on, man. What was that, some Catholic guilt thing, like don't look at a dog's butt or whatever? Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the whole thing. It's like black magic, really. I think that there is manifestation, whatever. I'm a spiritual person, but that's not part of this channel, but gotta say it. But it's like, awesome, Johann, or is it Johann, or is it Johan? But yeah, it's all the guilt, it's all the crap, and it's hard to get rid of those things. Right, the earth is flat, yeah. Like, if it is, great, awesome, who gives a shit, as long as the plane doesn't crash, I'm good. But there is a kind of, hold on. I am a breath of fresh air. Yes, I am, among other things. In the evenings, the breaths are a little smokier, but, still relatively fresh. Okay. So, the reason people and cults lash out: self-protection, past trauma. And the third one, to get a reaction out of you. And what is the reaction that Scientology wants? Well, they want you to be scared of them. They want you to mythologize their evil, right? It's like when one of the Scientology trolls came on and was like, "We are not a turn the other cheek religion." Okay, so what was that all about? That was a threat. Yeah, very spiritual, dudes. What a spiritual thing to do. Threaten people who are questioning your cult. Everything they do proves our narrative correct. It's so dumb. It's like you say, now they're going to do this. And that's what they do. Now they're going to vandalize protesters' cars. Now they're going to try to stage something where they can get a protester arrested. Now they're going to get the person arrested. They're going to try to get a restraining order against them. They're going to try to make it like this person is dangerous. And, well, they don't really want the attention. It's not that they want attention. They want us to believe they're bullshit, and they want us to believe that they're huge. But on the other hand, they don't really want anybody paying attention, because any international human trafficking cult is unlikely to want a lot of scrutiny over their behaviors. So, yeah, they want a lot of attention. They want you to think that all the celebrities are Scientologists, and it's this really great thing, and it's this, what do you call it? It's like an elite group. And this place is really, this is what they use to blow people away. I mean, look, imagine if you are from Kansas, and I like to mess with Kansas. If you're from Kansas and you always dreamed of being a movie star, and maybe you were like the cheerleader, and you were, the hottest girl in your high school in Kansas, and you come here and Scientology starts recruiting you, and they're like, "Oh, no, we're not going to take you to the regular place. We see you more as a celebrity. We think that you should come and take acting classes. We see you at the Celebrity Center." And this, 19-year-old girl from Kansas is like, "Oh, damn, this is where Tom Cruise hangs out, man. I just got invited into the inner sanctum of Hollywood awesomeness. This is where the most famous people on earth go." Yeah, if you went in a time machine and went back 60 years, you would be correct. You would find people like Cary Grant in here, and it would not be Scientology. And you would see Betty Davis, or Bette Davis, however you want to say it. And you'd see all these glamorous old stars of Hollywood, and they'd be hanging out here, or living here, or whatever, parties. Yeah, 60 years ago, 50, whatever, 70, I don't know exactly, 80, okay, now I'm sounding like an auctioneer, but that would have been the deal. That would have been correct. This would have been a glamorous place back then. Absolutely. Right now, it's a glamorous building, yeah, but not much going down here. Yeah, sometimes it's Bette Davis, but yeah, Betty Davis eyes. There's a cool cemetery around here that's like hundreds of acres forest lawn. And there's actually, I think, 2 forest lawns. But yeah, Betty Davis's grave is there. And a lot of other movie stars. But yeah, it's kind of weird, you know, standing at this thing. Another group uses copyright strikes. Oh, who knows? I mean, there has to be somebody on earth using copyright strikes over some form of protesting. Who knows? But I don't think it has worked. But I have not heard the, you know, whether like the copyright strikes were defeated or what actually happened with that. But Aaron said, you know, that it's like a 10-day process, and if they don't literally sue you in a court and show YouTube proof that they are starting a lawsuit, that they have filed a lawsuit, that then the copyright strike is dropped. And the thing is, I think YouTube is probably going to be a little smarter than the LAPD at not letting them get away with all their crap. Oh yeah, other methods definitely went on before. I mean, if you see the Lisa McPherson Foundation protests like 15, 20 years ago, where they were walking around in Clearwater, and they went to the flag building there in Clearwater, and they were protesting, and they had signs. And those Scientologists came out like rabid dogs. I mean, they were getting in their faces, and they were doing all their bull baiting and like, what are your crimes? What are your crimes? What are your crimes? You know? And I mean, I just think that's so hilarious. These people literally think that if you have any critiques of Scientology, that you are guilty of horrible crimes. I mean, they really believe it. It's not just like a bullshit tactic that they use. Like, they think it's just axiomatic. Like, if you're against Scientology, that automatically means that you are guilty of major crimes. Maybe you haven't been caught, but you're definitely guilty. And so it's just the stupidest thing ever, you know, because when they ask it, they really have this smug look on their face. Like, they know you have these crimes. Like, they know the deal for sure. And so they're asking these questions. And, you know, they give you that look like, well, okay, what are you going to say to this one? And it's like, dude, you're saying the same rote thing that every Scientologist has said for the last 50 years or 60 or however the hell long it's been called Scientology. I mean, this whole what are your crimes thing, it's the oldest thing in the book. It's ridiculous. What are your crimes? Like, oh, first of all, I'm going to say, oh, yeah, let me, he definitely, I mean, Miscavige has a Napoleon complex. He has a ton of insecurity that he masks, just like Tom Cruise. You know, they mask their insecurity with this false bravado bullshit, and they've convinced themselves that they're just like the most macho dudes in the world. Have you seen the picture of Tom Cruise and David Miscavige on motorcycles, like on dirt bikes? I mean, they are so affirming each other's masculinity. It is sick. It is like... Here's a good part of California. Lemons. Yeah, the motorcycle picture, exactly. That's where most of the lemons end up. Exactly, that's totally it. Putin's shirtless on a horse. Exact same thing. Exactly the same thing. It's such compensation for feelings of inferiority. I mean, if they weren't so evil, then you could have compassion. But they're evil, so hell no. They don't get any compassion from me. They get mockery. And that's what they deserve, and that's what they will continue to receive. Oh, don't tell me there's more clouds coming in. More rain. There's not supposed to be, but you never know after this stuff's all done. It's getting a little dark up there. How far can they go? Yeah. Well, everybody's wondering about that upcoming Kool-Aid party. That's how far they can go. But I think Scientology's not the type of group that would do themselves in without doing a lot of others in simultaneously. They're much more evil. So why people lash out? We are reviewing some psychology today, because remember, I always got to throw in a little wisdom in the lecture, but self-protection, past trauma, to get a reaction out of you. And here's where it comes into the narcissistic realm, to devalue and control. Good, how's it going?
You're sitting on private property. Thank you.
You got it. Somebody is maybe in league with the Scientologists, or maybe just one of those HOA types. Who knows? Oh, now he has to go talk to the tow truck guy. I wonder. Now, this can't be, if they have things for rent here, that means it's probably not Scientology. But don't know why somebody would drive their car out to a tow truck and then have all these pictures taken of it. Whatever. HOA-tology. Yeah, that's possibly the deal. True. HOAs are some of the most Scientology-like organizations as far as I know. So anyway, yeah, like I was saying, where I've made a lot of analogies between, my presence is definitely beautification. I made a lot of analogies between different psychological issues and Scientology and all that, and about narcissism, for example, totalitarianism, people with control issues, but to devalue and control. So let's say Scientology lashes out in order to devalue and control. Well, anytime somebody is attacking you physically, part of it is to humiliate, right? So devalue is putting it mildly. It's to humiliate you into feeling less than, into feeling like there's nothing you can do about the attack, that kind of thing. And so in the typical abusive relationship scenario, it's the same as Scientology. They start off with a lot of love bombing. They idealize you. They put you on a pedestal. They make you feel like you have found your home. You have found your people like never before. And then once they got you, Thanks for being here, Daniel. Thank you. Hey, anybody who hasn't subscribed, please do if the Lord Xenu calls upon you and touches your heart in that way. Like and subscribe. You'll be my best friend. I love you long time. But anyway, yeah, in a narcissistic, abusive relationship, they give you all the goodies up front. And in cults, it's called love bombing. Thanks so much. Thank you. Yeah, it's controlling and manipulative. But see, the thing is, the love bombing, what we have to understand, the love bombing is set up so that then when you assert your own will, your own free will, then, thank you for liking. Show me on the doll where Xenu touched you. I love it. You guys are hilarious. Still integrating that one. Thanks. See you back next time. So the thing is, what they're doing is they're setting up this beautiful thing around the love bombing, so then they can lash out at you if you have your own agenda and you don't go along with them. And they're like, you're ruining everything. That's the attitude that they can come up with. Like, I've given you all my love, and I told you you're the most special person ever, and now you're just throwing it in my face. Hey, I just want to go hang with my friend tonight. That's all. Oh my God, you're minimizing my pain. You are, and they do all this crap. And then if that doesn't work, if they can't guilt you into it, they will lash out with violent fury. And they will freak out on you. And it's all to bring you under control, to bring you back. And ideally, they're going to get you to apologize for even daring to have your own agenda. And then they'll bring you back into the fold. And you'll realize, and it happens in so many relationships, so many workplaces. In Scientology, it's just like 1,000 times worse. But, it's like they'll say, you're ruining everything. You're betraying this relationship. Yeah. Attack and always attack, never defend. Exactly. They won't explain themselves. They won't justify their crap, except with, some standard explanations that they use every time. They'll just say, we're a religion. You're being a religious bigot. That's about all they got. They just milk this religion angle for everything they possibly can. And with a lot of people, it works. So, and when the guilt doesn't work, when the shame doesn't work, then they really lash out in order to devalue you. Like, who do you think you are? Having your own opinions, your own agenda. How dare you? That's the way they act. That's the way they look at you. And so, and then they want to bring you back under control, because you realize that You know, have you ever been in a situation where somebody where you gave in and you just said, you know, it's just not worth the fight. It's just not worth it. Like, you know, it's bullshit. All right. Free lemon? Free lemon. It's good. I take. Little mini lemon. And so, you know, you get into this mode of compromising with total bullshit because you're like, oh, last time I brought up any disagreement, they went crazy and, you know, it's not that big of a deal. So, I mean, I just don't have the energy for that fight today. And so you give in. Is it really good for garbage disposals? That's good to know. I used to hear glass would sharpen the garbage disposal, and then I heard that was totally wrong. I have lived without garbage disposals for 40 years. And just recently got back into the land of, you know, most places don't have garbage disposals. New York City definitely does not have garbage disposals. Europe doesn't have garbage disposals. A lot of places don't have it, and it's a mythical thing to them. You know, for people in New York City, like a garbage disposal is just like a mythical creature, like a dragon or something. Because, yeah, if everybody had a garbage disposal in New York, it would be disaster down at the sewage treatment plant within about an hour. So anyway, they devalue you. The lashing out is to devalue and to control you. And the best form of control is to intimidate you into never even doing anything in the first place, right? Prevention is the best cure, that kind of thing. You're from New York? Yeah, hi, Liberty. What area of New York? I lived in mainly the East Village, but a lot of other areas too. You're petrified of it. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. The best way to control is to lie. Yeah, that's a really good one, definitely. To lie, to intimidate. The lashing out part that we're talking about today is mainly the intimidation. You didn't know how it worked. Yeah, you flip a switch. It's hard. No, but I mean, hey, when I first moved here, I started like putting coffee grounds down the garbage disposal, and you know, it wasn't good. Well, yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people are damaged, and they do like to be under control. It's just like, you know, people that have been in a string of abusive relationships, you know, there's something in them that, as Scientology would say, pulled it in. But it's kind of true, you know, that people in abusive relationships or abusive cults, they have a basic insecurity, and they're attracted to a type of personality that gives the energy of like they know what's going on. Scientology always knows what's going on, according to them. Obviously they don't, but oh, Queens. Okay, we're in Queens. I lived in Jackson Heights and Ridgewood, Queens. No, I haven't seen any security guards. Well, I mean, they can't have security guards out here if they're weaponizing the homeless against protesters. You know, then they'd have to explain why the security guards wouldn't even call 911. But the thing is, the security guards are mainly Sea Org, and according to Aaron Smith-Levin, the security guards are actually the highest ranking Sea Org members. And everybody doesn't, everybody thinks they're just like security, but actually they're running the place. And so the thing is, they are hiding from us a lot because they don't want these people to hear our message. They hate that. And so even the security guards, or maybe even especially the security guards, are a threat because, Mike Render was head of OSA, right? And Mike Render left Scientology, or as they say in the Sea Org, he blew. And very funny word for a homophobic cult. But, so if the head of OSA, the head of their spy wing, can go AWOL, leave, write a book, and be a big voice against Scientology, then imagine what a lowly security guard would be capable of doing, of course. So they probably don't want the security guards getting interpolated by protesters. They don't want the security guards hearing what we have to say, because every now and then we say things that actually land and that get through the cult programming. And so that's death to Scientology. That's the end. They cannot function in that way. Yeah, that sucks. But, the thing is, I just refuse to be scared about all this crap. I know it can happen, and if something happens, I'll be scared in that moment, for sure. Not trying to be a badass about it, but it's just like, there comes a time when you got to do something, Oh, Jamaica, okay. I just went through Jamaica Station last November when I flew out there to take the JMZ, whatever, JZ line. Oh yeah, I mean, some of these people, depending on who they were, what they did, what they knew, they will mess with these people for years after the fact. They will make them pay for it. But, a lot of those things, it's not necessarily that they even care about messing with those people. I mean, they do. They're vindictive and they're trashy like that. But it's also the lesson to the next guy. I have not been to Asia, and I've barely been to South America, so yeah, mainly just Europe, but like every corner of Europe. Another reason people lash out is stress. Oh, they would tear down all the posters. They would send all the Sea Org people around and all the Scientologists and tear down the posters if that happened. Definitely. And then they would probably start some spy action to figure out who was behind it, and then, send detectives to their house or vandalize their car or do some crap like that. But the thing is, right now, Scientology is in a phase where it's freaking out, it's lashing out, it doesn't have many moves left. And, when an evil character runs out of options, they generally start picking some very bad options. And when that happens, people can get hurt. Bad things can happen. It's dangerous. But the thing is, I believe in karma, and supposedly they do too. And they call it pulling it in. Why did you pull that in? How did you pull it in? That kind of stuff, right? So they believe in karma. They believe if something bad happened to you, like when Danny Masterson abused those women, one of the first things that they did with the women was do auditing to find out how they might have been an R-wordist in a past life. And that's why they pulled it in. You got to find out why you pulled it in. Why did you pull in Danny Masterson doing that to you? Well, Scientology, why did you pull in all these people protesting against you? Okay, if this pulling it in thing, oh my God, look at that. I don't know how to zoom here, but up there on the roof by the American flag to the left of it is another pole with a camera on it. Oh yeah. So David Miscavige was there was a hearing yesterday, a court hearing, and one of these things, I think it was the Leah Remini trial. I'm not sure. I get them all mixed up. But anyway, apparently the judge was looking forward on his calendar, and like next week, I guess, there is a hearing where David Miscavige is going to assert that he has not been served a subpoena, right? Because David Miscavige has been hiding from being served a subpoena for years, because the biggest fear of Miscavige is that he's going to be questioned under oath. Because, I mean, the guy cannot help but lie. So, obviously, if he's questioned under oath, he's probably going to commit perjury. And if he commits perjury, they got his ass. Not that they're going to do anything about it, knowing, the legal system of David Miscavige. But anyway, we gotta try for what we can do. And so David Miscavige has been evading service. And so what happened was, recently David Miscavige got a speeding ticket or something. Hello, more fun than sitting at home. I remember you from before. So he got like a speeding ticket or whatever, and the address on his driver's license was the same address as one of the places that they have tried to serve a subpoena multiple times, and where the guards would say, oh, wow, he doesn't live here. We don't know anything about him. Hey, Diane. Oh, that's you. Cool. I got to come to Ventura, but I'll let you dry out. I'll let you dry out from the floods, because, man, Ventura seems to get it bad every time. Like, if it rains here, it's like, much worse in Ventura. But I want to come and check that whole scene out, because I'm very into the idea of these smaller orgs. Maybe I just like to kick an org when it's down or something. But, like, I love what's happening in Austin. Yeah, it was bad, right? Yeah. But now it'll be nice for another 9 months. Yeah, there might be a few rain episodes, but, whatever. But so David Miscavige has been doing everything he can to not be questioned, to not be deposed, to not go to court. And basically yesterday the judge said he's gonna come to court one way or another. Like he's gonna, so I guess the next thing is they can do a deposition by publication, where they put it in a paper of record, where you have all those legal notices, and all they have to do is put it in there. One time they had David Miscavige's lawyers in the court, like 6 months ago or more, and they were like, well, you know where he is, right? Or, and they're like, I don't know, I mean, it's such BS. It's like, obviously, he is findable. Yeah, that. Well, I'm responding about Toronto. It's not too active anywhere in Scientology. The most active places are here and Clearwater, Florida. And if you see Aaron's videos where he's walking around Clearwater, the whole damn place is a ghost town. I mean, Scientology has completely ruined Clearwater. See all this curtain tech? That makes me think this might be a Scientology building. And then we got this camera. Well, that could be normal. But then we got these other cameras. So, as I was contemplating sitting here, then I thought, okay, let's look for signs of Scientological BS. And here they are. Yeah. How can you spot possible... Is this a Scientology building?
No, I think it's the other block.
Oh, okay, because it has all the curtains blocked and a bunch of cameras and stuff. So.
Yeah, I think it's above the...
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. Sorry.
Right.
Like, lost in the direction.
Yeah, thanks. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe just people like having their curtains closed in this building. But anyway, the thing is, my point is that Scientology's lashing out, not only because of us, but Danny Masterson just basically went to prison for life. And Danny Masterson was one of the few remaining true blue Scientology R-wordists in good standing. And yeah, please do go check out more about Toronto. And sometimes there's just busy times where people come and do courses, and you got to figure out when that might be. But so anyway, Scientology has lost Danny Masterson, and the Masterson family apparently is huge, and a huge chunk of the Scientology membership of LA, and very connected in that world. So Scientology's hands were a little bit tied, and also they're very complicit in not allowing these women to report the assaults that they suffered. Scientology actively has a policy that you don't snitch. Hola. You don't snitch to the cops. I mean, you snitch on each other to Scientology non-stop. It's a complete snitching culture. But you don't snitch outside to outsiders, right? What was that movie with the Amish where they called everybody the English? You don't snitch to the English. The Amish would speak this Pennsylvania Dutch, and they would call all the regular Americans the English. What was that movie? Was it? I can't remember. Well, it might be busy in a few weeks. It might also just be that there's like one one window every day of, maybe there's like 5 to 7 at night, and that's when people come and do the auditing, or there could be something like that. It could be a daily thing, it could be a weekend thing. And there could be so few Scientologists in Toronto that you're never even going to notice anything's going on, except for a random person showing up every now and then. And a lot of these orgs are like that. There was a really funny one of, I just saw a little short snippet, but I believe it was from Chicago, and they had called the cops on a protester. Yeah, that's it. Witness with Harrison Ford. That's exactly it. But it was funny how the Amish kept talking about Americans as the English because they were speaking. Oh, breaking news. Okay. Interesting. The test center. Well, fill me in. Has the test center opened? Harrison Ford, yeah. Has the test center opened up again? I hope so, because that's a fun place, because you got the foot traffic. The problem with LA is there's hardly any actually right here, this is more foot traffic than you get in a lot of LA, where it's residential like this. This is a lot of foot traffic for LA, for a residential neighborhood, because most people are just walking between their car and their house. And that's about it. The LA walking scene is not like other cities with mass transit widely available. But so yeah, that's the movie with Harrison Ford. Yeah. But the Scientology, they have to snitch on each other non-stop for the most minor infraction. But when it comes to Danny Masterson abusing many women, oh no, we'll handle that internally. And by the way, how did you pull that in? Did you do such things when you were... Isn't there a Fort Harrison Scientology thing? The whole thing about manifestation, which I do believe in to some degree, it's right. Fort Harrison Hotel, that's right. Yeah, that's in Clearwater, I think. The worst thing about this idea of you create your reality or manifestation or all that is when it turns into like making you the victim, making everything your fault because you manifested it, right? As if you did it on purpose. The real idea with manifestation is that it's just a reflection of where you're at, like your average, whatever. It's not like you decide and then it happens, especially the bad stuff. But anyway, Scientology is a victim-blaming cult. Always has been, always will be, until it's killed, until it is dead, which will be a beautiful day for mankind. Are the skies darkening? Are we going to get more of that rain? Because I left some car windows slightly ajar back home to let things air out a little bit, but man, if it rains on it, that'll be messed up. That will not be fun. But yeah, it's beautiful. You don't get to see that color of blue in LA very often due to the smog, obviously. You don't really notice the smog most of the time. You look up, the sky seems blue. It's like, I don't see any smog. But man, you get up on a mountain and look over it, or an airplane or whatever, and you're like, oh, damn, that's not good. So David Miscavige is facing right now. Let's review some of the things that would make Scientology lash out. Dramatically declining membership. Okay. Yeah, I believe Ventura is. It sticks out there into the ocean a little more. Yeah. And so the membership has been declining straight through for the last, 20 years or whatever. Maybe a lot longer. I don't know. And nobody really knows the exact numbers, except people in there. And so you got the declining membership. You also have a situation where the media is far less intimidated by Scientology. I mean, Leah Remini had, 3 seasons of her show, and then there was Going Clear, and then there was My Scientology Movie. There's been a lot of people creating content around Scientology lately. What would I do? Well, if they put me in charge of Scientology, what I would do, asking for a friend. I am a consultant, okay? I am a strategic consultant. So I will tell you what I would do. I would turn Scientology into a self-help group. I would drop L. Ron Hubbard. I would have like a Protestant Reformation of Scientology. I would get rid of a lot of the real estate, and I would rework the Scientology stuff. There is some stuff that works, right? I would end the whole opposition to psychology, and I'd make it just some kind of like a self-help technique. And the positive aspects would be that, it'd be kind of like assertiveness training combined with the processing they do, where they make you tell the story 100 times in a row until you lose the charge. I mean, there are a few things like that work in Scientology. The first thing is you're going to have a truth and reconciliation process, like South Africa and Rwanda, places like that, where a lot of evil has been done. So you're going to have to get the evildoers to admit to their evil. David Mayo tried a reformation. Is Mayo Miscavige, or is that a different guy? Thank you. Rogue is the end of your name. I can't see too much in the... You'll be in touch? Yeah, you're going to hire me for some consulting? Good. It's his auditor. Okay. One of the people David Miscavige purged to take control. Yeah. And the thing is, probably if Miscavige wouldn't have taken it, the kind of thing I'm describing could have happened. It couldn't happen with him, but... I would look at it as like a business restructuring opportunity if I was in charge of Scientology. And since it would be all fresh blood, I would be able to throw David Miscavige under the bus and a lot of other Scientology people, and I would denounce the previous negative practices, and I would denounce L. Ron Hubbard. And there would be a total reformation, and it would be all about doing mushrooms in the woods and singing Kumbaya and standing holding hands in circles and crying about your childhood. There's a big market for that. I'm not shocked about the tasers and all that at all. Peyote, mushrooms, ayahuasca. That's what my Scientology would be all about. I mean, this would be a great place to have like 150 people tripping on mushrooms listening to some good music. Don't you guys agree? You know, this, I mean, you got a fence around it. You got a contained area, you know, everybody could just be, yeah, you know, we could have some, cannabis therapy sessions. Absolutely. Smoke this whole place out. And now that you got the green thing around that, the Fillmore, yeah, you know, this would be a good, you know, setting place for some nice psychedelic rituals. Absolutely. You know, it could be a haven. I loved it when I moved back to California and I heard about California sober. Like, yeah, I smoke weed, I do shrooms, but I don't drink, I don't do coke, whatever. 7HUT 612, 7HUT 612. Trying to hide their license plate. It won't work. Let him in, let him in. LSD equals LRH. And then, you know, they have this thing where you can't join the Sea Org if you've taken LSD. But then supposedly what happens is that they'll be like, well, what did the LSD look like that you took? And how can you be sure that was really LSD? And basically they just let everybody in that actually told them, yeah, I've done LSD. And they're like, nah, you didn't do LSD. You know? They just like, they need people so bad. I mean, are you going to turn somebody down from working for free? You're California sober? Well, congratulations. That's a good achievement. I think it's actually a good thing, because this whole thing where they just put all drugs in one category, pretty ridiculous. That shouldn't be the deal. I mean, if you think weed and meth, 8ROJ 942, 8ROJ 942, can't drive, we're shit. You know, the way they lump it all together. And it also, like, you know, when I was a teenager and they were like, all drugs are bad, and then you smoke weed and you're like, well, this is pretty damn good. And then you think, well, they were probably bullshitting about all the other ones, you know? So now I got to try all the other ones. Thanks, Marty. Yeah, you know, I have a nice heritage in the tripping world. Going back to before many of my watchers were born. But the king of all, well, don't need to talk about that. In this hallowed Scientological spiritual environment, we don't want to bring in the essence of drugs. I mean, you know, we might break some of the awesomeness of the non-interbulated state that these people are residing in. So, David Miscavige, to review: losing members, facing trial, facing multiple lawsuits. And the thing is, so David Miscavige does not want to testify. If it would get to the point where David Miscavige absolutely didn't testify, well, for one thing, he could be considered a fugitive from the law. That's one thing. Because if he's considered served, technically, and then he doesn't show up to the deposition or the trial, then he will, you know, then the judge will decide that he is in violation and they will come after his ass. Okay. If that didn't happen, then what would happen is that Leah Remini's going to just win her case. Like, and so then it's going to be that the judge just says, well, guilty by default. And now the jury just decides the dollar amount. And that dollar amount might be enough to buy you quite a few of these buildings here. That's going to be a very expensive settlement. And the thing where David Miscavige is even more screwed, I don't know if you guys know about this, but most of the time that David Miscavige is facing potential questioning under oath, he's able to buy himself out of the situation. He settles lawsuits for extreme amounts of money, and then what he does is he just pays them to make it all go away. But Leah Remini's already rich, and she wants blood. She doesn't give a shit. I mean, David Miscavige would have to give her an amount of money that would be so crippling to Scientology, like over $1 billion. You know, something like that. That's what David Miscavige would have to come up with to make Leah Remini go away. You know, you can't just give Leah Remini $10 million to settle and she'll be, oh good, wow, $10 million. You give me $10 million, I'll go away. I won't do this anymore, I promise. Okay? Cross my heart and hope to die. Okay? You give me $10 million, you know, I'll forget about Scientology forever. I'll just bring that back for my next lifetime. I'll just mess with them then if they're still around, which they won't be. But you give Leah Remini $10 million, she's going to be like, well, I think I'll go to a nicer restaurant tonight than I was going to go to. And that's about how much it's going to impact her lifestyle. Who's talking what? You mean me? You think you know? Well, I am very famous. I am an internationally celebrated man of the theater, obviously. And here we have the back of the building from, what was that? Damn. What was that movie called? Singles or something like that? Bunch of lame dudes trying to hook up with girls and being real, what the hell was that movie? Oh, whatever. But anyway, yeah. So Leah Remini's not going to be bought off by David Miscavige. And that is definitely making some sphincters pucker up. Swingers, exactly. That's it, swingers. That's the swingers building right there. Big FD, but you know, that's what it is. I said $10 million. I didn't say 1 million. Come on, I might be a whore, but I'm not a slut. But anyway, yeah, $10 million, you know. I could find other things to occupy myself with. But, you know, I don't see them giving me $10 million, so don't get too worried. Don't feel betrayed. Don't feel betrayed, da-don't. Da-don't. Yeah, I don't think I'm sending my bank details to anybody on here. But, you know, Davey Mismanage at protonmail.com, we can make it happen. But anyway, yeah, so Leah Remini's not going to get paid off. That's not going to happen. And part of what Leah Remini is doing in her lawsuit it's not only that she's asking for damages, she is also trying to get an injunction. She actually tried to get a preliminary injunction, which would have gone into effect before the trial, to end Scientology's fair game policy. So this is one of the main things that Leah Remini wanted to do with this lawsuit. I mean, for one thing, she's suing them for interference with her business contracts, among other things. But no, this is Hollywood. This is not downtown. This is the Celebrity Center here. And in the distance, the Hollywood sign is visible, depending on what kind of screen you're looking at. See the Hollywood sign up there in the distance? Sorry, I don't know how to zoom without potentially messing up the whole live stream, so I won't zoom, because last time I tried that, it messed everything up. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Well, Hollywood's a little different than downtown, but I get it. We're right by the 101 freeway, and I'm on, I believe this is Gower in Hollywood, so, you know, get out your map and watch me. So the thing is, Leah Remini wants money for deals that she might have lost because of Scientology's interference with her making a living, and that is against the law, and that is something that is a civil issue. So that means you only have to present, you only have to prove like 50 plus a little bit more percent, right? You have to have the preponderance of the evidence. It's not like a criminal trial where you have oh, empty. Thank you so much for you returning. We all missed you so much. Oh my God, my heart runneth over. So now that we have empty, we'll go back to David Miscavige's bleeding scrotum. The message of the day is David Miscavige's herpes sores are causing horrible bleeding from his scrotal area, and all of Scientology is up in arms against the hippie herpes complex. Or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, so in the distance we have Hollywood Boulevard, and we have the 101 freeway that goes to Ventura, where Diane is. I made you laugh through the pain. Oh no. So yeah, it's good just to take some longer steps, walk down the block, walk back again, you know. But anyway, let's go look at the freeway, because that's so exciting. So anyway, so Leah Remini has two main things that she's doing. There are probably more. There's downtown LA in the distance. You can see the skyscrapers. And so Leah Remini is trying to get restitution for money that she lost because of Scientology. That's one area of it. Then she's trying to get damages, you know, extra payments for damages for the fact that they broke the law doing what they did. That's another element. But another element is that they're trying to get Scientology to rescind the whole fair game policy. And the thing is, if they can do that, and then they can prove any more fair game, then wouldn't it be funny if Empty was little Davy? Oh my God, I would be so honored. That would be amazing. I mean, any communication from Scientology is basically Davy, because he's a micromanager with a Napoleon complex. So, you know, anything he ever says, or anything anybody ever says on behalf of Scientology, it has to be at least cleared through little Davy. Microman. You know, and Davy's little incel army is no match for my stinky breath. There's no way, man. There is no way. All I got to do is blow and light a match, and they will blow. Scientologists, you must blow. You must blow. You must be absent without leave. Oh, there's a good little view of the freeway over that way. But so the thing is, David Miscavige is facing a situation where, number one, yeah, that means it is David Miscavige. If he says he's not, that means he is. Hi, Davey. So nice to meet you. And to think that we've been in constant communication for all this time, and I didn't even figure it out until now. That's amazing. I feel so validated. You know, there's nothing more validating than having the leader of an international human trafficking court send you little love messages. There is nothing that tickles my urethra more than that. Believe me. Oh, the queefsters at it, joining Empty. That's nice. That's so sweet. But, you know, I don't really know how to pack it up. I'm really messy. But little Davy Wavy is butthurt. Yep, he is. Davy doesn't want to say where Shelly is, because Davy has a girlfriend, but he doesn't want to go through the hassle of divorce, whatever. It's like, you know, it's like he's like Saddam Hussein, you know. It's like, hey, I don't need no divorce, man. I just do what I want. Who's going to say anything? I am the law. You know, Davy is the law. That's what you got to understand about Davy. He is totally the law. Oh, sorry. Well, if you're not dissing me, then we're friends. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to get all reactive. You know, I'm not clear. I haven't dropped my reactive mind. So, people lash out for self-protection as a result of past trauma, to get a reaction out of you, to devalue and control them because of their own stress. Too many angry Scientologists in the UK? Well, are there really that many Scientologists in the UK? I'm sure they're all angry. But remember, anger is a way to disguise your vulnerability, okay? That's why Scientologists always act so pissed off. Oh, I'm not inturbulatable, but yeah. It's like, I don't believe in insults. 1844 in England, 24% decline in a decade. That sounds right. Does anybody know if the Plymouth, England protester guy, the disabled guy that would go and smoke a joint next to Scientology like 15 years ago or whatever, is he still around, Plymouth Scientology? That dude was hilarious, and he used his disability to get away with a lot of shit. And you know how Scientology hates weed and everything. So, you know, he'd pull out a joint and be like, time for my medicine, and spark up right next to the E-meter Dianetics table. It was hilarious. But there's probably nothing left in Plymouth for him to even protest against anymore. It's probably all over by now. So, oh, by the way, anybody new on here, please subscribe. And hey, when I ask, it's not only subscribe to me, please subscribe to everybody doing this. If you're into this work, it's really important. I subscribe to everybody. I have no competitors. It's, you know, we want everybody out here, as many, we want more people to join. You know, it's really important to get, you know, I subscribe every time I see some other, like Denver or Chicago or Austin, Pearl Snappy, the best. I subscribe to those channels, and I urge you to do that too. I'm not just saying it for me. Yeah, every channel. Thanks, Peter, because that's the whole thing. Because subscribing is what, you know, it's what gets us in the algorithm, which gets us more subscribers, which, yeah, you know, we want to make some money at it for sure. Not going to feel guilty about that. But, hey, Gerald. Yeah, I know the feeling, man. I come home from doing this, and the first thing I'm doing is like turning on the TV and watching other people. You know, this has been a sort of hobby/obsession for me for about 15 years or so, ever since the anonymous days. And yeah, we're all part of it. That's the thing. I was part of it long before I ever came out here. And the first thing that brought me out, oh, I heard about that show like a couple weeks. I haven't heard about. I have something else going on tonight, unfortunately. But damn, where is it? If you could send it, if you could send me the info at David Miscavige at protonmail.com. If I can get out of my other thing earlier, maybe I can make it over there. I haven't seen anybody in a few days because of all the rains and all the drama and the attack and all that stuff going on. It's been a dispersed scene here, but yeah, so the thing is, from our point of view, doing this work, it can appear to us that we are Davy's biggest problem. But we are absolutely not his biggest problem at all. We're one of them, absolutely. We're not no problem at all, absolutely. But I would say Leah Remini's one of his absolute biggest problems. Okay, thank you so much, Molly Malone's Irish Pub. Okay, at 9. I don't think I'm going to be ready until about 11, or I was hoping it'd be later. But thanks for sending that. Leah Remini might be the biggest threat, but also the Jane Does from the Masterson case, who are now suing David Miscavige and Scientology for obstruction of justice and blocking them and pursuing them when they oh, they're streaming it. Oh, great. Oh, then I'll be able to watch it. Beautiful. Yeah, I don't even know what she does. I mean, does she have a band or something? I don't even know the deal. Like, I overheard a little bit about it, but not much. And that was like 2 weeks ago or whatever, 10 days ago. But okay, great. I bet her music. I met her actually here when I came to my first protest like 3-4 months ago. Well, she has that rocker vibe, definitely, and she definitely has them pipes, man, you know, when she would show up on Hollywood Boulevard and she would just walk up to the front door and blast them like, I was in the Sea Org, you know, whatever. Oh my God. She has a voice on the female version of my level of loudness. I don't know what they're covering. 60 Minutes Australia. The thing is, it is a big story, but you know what you see a lot, or what it looks to me from my, you know, slightly conspiratorial mindset, is that, yeah, a little like Janice, yeah. Hopefully not too much like Janice. You don't want to be too much like Janice. There's a limit. But there is, where was I? Now I forgot you got me thinking of Janice and it erased my memory banks. So the thing is, when they, oh, cool. Janice was not California sober. No. I mean, part of her was California sober, and then she had all the other things on top of that. That negated the rules of California sober. So there's the Netflix building up there, and to the right with all the white little squares, white and black. Yeah, that's where your Netflix is coming from. So anyway, David Miscavige probably has 27 ulcers eating up his stomach from the inside, because it's not going to end with the current lawsuits. It's just the beginning. For example, if people suing Scientology can get out of this whole thing, you know, they make you sign something when you join Scientology that you agree to religious arbitration if there are any issues. It is desperate, corrupt, and yeah, a paper tiger, absolutely. But it's a paper tiger with a big cash reserve. And cash can buy lawyers, and lawyers can cause bullshit. And so they can muddy the waters, to say the least, and they can protect against certain evils being punished. And so, you know, there's a lot of issues with that. Now they started playing the music again, but they're playing it pretty damn low. And my phone barely even picks up somebody talking straight across from me. So I don't see how it's going to pick up that music. And if it does pick it up, it's not really like anything that would mess with a copyright, because it's not even something that is loud enough that you could play. Oh, look at Mr. Badass there with the mask. Tough guy, huh? Yeah. Very macho, very tough. So anyway, they have a perfect storm of issues coming at them. Because, so yeah, as I was saying, with this whole the whole issue of the religious arbitration. Sorry, I can't read anything now. I'm in total glare. Sorry about that. But in the religious arbitration documents they've signed, Scientology's been able to use that for years, that anybody that leaves, they're like, yeah, well, you signed our religious arbitration agreement, so therefore, you know, you have to deal with your issues against Scientology in Scientology religious arbitration, and the only people that can be on the jury, whatever, on the committee of evidence, whatever the hell it is Scientologists. And so, I mean, it's a total kangaroo court where you're destined to lose. And it's not something L. Ron Hubbard did. It's something David Miscavige pulled straight out of his bleeding rectum. And so, it's just 1,000% BS. But courts have been reluctant to set a precedent of going against anything that could look like they were messing with religious freedom. And oh, by the way, this is where Mindy was attacked, right around here. This is where where she was sitting down. I watched it from home. But yeah, she's really sweet, and she's very awesome. And whatever that reality star freak that attacked her, hopefully she gets a little karmic revenge. But so if the religious arbitration thing gets killed, and because a lot of these people are like, hey, I quit Scientology, I don't believe in Scientology, I think it's a cult, you are re-traumatizing me by sending me to Scientology. I mean, some of these victims of horrendous attacks have been forced to go back to Scientology and try to get justice from the group. Yeah, exactly. Well, this is the thing. This is about the mainstream media versus us. I think we're kind of getting two parallel tracks of media where we're getting people that are YouTubers and whatever that are actually doing the real reporting. They're actually doing the real reporting more than a lot of the legacy media. And then we get the legacy media saying, well, if you don't go through our pipes, basically, then you are conspiracy theorists, right-wing revolutionaries, whatever. And so basically what they do is they try to discredit the alternative media. But, it's not going to work. It's like, it's like as if the three networks, NBC, ABC, CBS, if they try to discredit HBO and not have cable anymore, like, that's a losing thing. It's never going to work. And so what's funny is that so many YouTubers, so many people live streaming, not me, unfortunately, but they will have more views on a YouTube channel than CNN has during that time slot. I mean, like Breaking Points. And Breaking Points should be covering Streets pretty soon. But Breaking Points on YouTube has more viewers a lot of times than CNN or MSNBC or whatever. But CNN and MSNBC considers them to not even really be news. So anyway, Scientology is lashing out because they are losing control. They are losing control of the narrative, and they are losing control mainly because their intimidation tactics aren't working the way they used to. And so they're trying to lash out. They're going through the same playbook once again. What are your crimes? Don't be an SP. You're such an SP. Right, but you see how legacy media, they're not covering this stuff. And this is some of the biggest news that's going on in LA. And LA is a pretty important market for America. And, yet they don't really talk about it that much because we are kind of their competition. When certain of the Squirrel Squad, when I first met Chris Without a Hellcat, for example, and, he was telling me he's a journalist and he's covering these things. And I'm looking at him like, oh, you're not a journalist, you're some little kid. Let me tell you, Chris Without a Hellcat is a fucking journalist, okay? He is sharp as hell. The guy, you see when he learns something, man, he goes out and applies it right away. He implements, he's the only one after I started doing the clear cognition thing, when I heard it from Aaron, and Aaron, like a month ago, Aaron said, tell them the clear cognition. And then he said what it was. And I went out there the next day and I did it, okay? Chris Without a Hellcat did it. He's the first other person I ever saw do it. And I was kind of like, why is nobody doing this? Man, Aaron gave us the keys to the kingdom here. No, Chris was right on that, And so, some executive at CNN would look at Chris and be like, this isn't a journalist. He didn't go to Harvard. Yeah, he totally does his research. And, they better not underestimate it. Right. They're all watchable. They're fun. They're iconoclastic. All kinds of stuff. And it's, I look at legacy media similarly to the way I look at Scientology. I mean, obviously it's not that kind of cult, but what I mean by that is that it's this kind of boring establishment energy of like, we are the authorities. Scientology, like, we are the authorities at getting people off of drugs. We are the authorities. It's this bullshit attitude of, kind of patriarchal, control freak vibe. But it used to be what was considered mature and upstanding and, whatever. But now people really just see it as, what a dud. Like, nobody really is like that. Nobody really talks like that. Yeah, like, he's very responsive like that. He's very, they're scared, and it's very much like Scientology. Legacy media has no moves. They have no moves. They don't know how to pivot. They don't, it's like, there's this book that I read in grad school called The Structure of Scientific Revolutions. And it's not easy reading, but it's short at least. But anyway, they talk about how when there's a revolution in anything, it could be in science and politics and whatever, there's this thing where the old guard hangs on. And then it slowly starts eroding, and it passes the point of no return, where the old model does not work anymore. Okay, Scientology was created at a time that everybody went to church. It was a time that people didn't really know the way they do now what priests do with little boys, when they're practicing for the communion, whatever. Okay, everybody put religious people on a pedestal. Everybody had a religious leader, in their life. Not everybody, but everybody went to church. Everybody had a preacher. And everybody felt like they were answerable to that person. They felt like, I better not be seen in public being drunk, being rowdy, cheating on my wife, whatever. Because the preacher might see me, or somebody might see me and tell the preacher. And so my point is, now most people don't go to church, and if they do, they don't really feel like they're under the thumb of their preacher. Most people are not really in this hierarchical situation in the same way. Even in the workplace, it's changing. In the mass media, it's totally changing, because anybody like me with a camera can just walk out and basically start a television network. Solutions to problems you didn't even know. Yeah. Like that Rolling Stones song, that man on the, what was it? The man on the commercial telling me how white my shirts should be or something. Whatever. But the thing is, we have a decentralization. We have a dissolving of hierarchical structures. Scientology is one aspect of this movement that is happening. It is about self-empowerment and personal authenticity these days. It's not about who am I going to follow? What political party am I going to... It's not about joining something bigger than yourself the way it used to be. Now it's about finding your own authenticity. It's a totally different paradigm than what the world is used to. So Scientology is no longer relevant in this new world, and neither is legacy media, unless they go through a huge transformation, which they probably are not going to. And so it's like, this is the overall movement where we're moving away from dictatorships slowly. We're moving away from all forms of hierarchy in business, in media, and in religion. And so the dissolving of Scientology would probably be happening anyway, even if they weren't as evil as they actually are. Danny Masterson's favorite restaurant coming up straight ahead, La Poubelle. That means the garbage can in French. And obviously it's garbage people that run it, because they were there, or the owner, as far as I heard, every day of Danny Masterson's trial, giving him support. And since this is the place where those women were given the drugs that put them out and put them into a situation where they could not defend themselves, and then the guy is going to go support Danny Masterson and think I'm not going to talk about it when I walk by the damn restaurant? And I lived in France. I like French food. This is near my house. Looks like a pissoir. Yeah, there you go. I would love to just be able to go right down the street and get some French food. But now I can't do it. God damn it. You ruined it for me with your Masterson loving antics. Yeah, it is beautiful. And usually you don't get all these clouds like that, making the sky so pretty. Usually it's not that much. But yeah, there's some that look like... I got a couple drips on me before, but that's all right. I'm not crying about that. So, Scientology's lashing out because they are no longer relevant. They are under legal scrutiny, moral scrutiny, and mainly they're being laughed at by everybody. And anybody that knows anything about Scientology that is not a mindless cultist is probably mocking Scientology every time the subject comes up. And that's about the worst thing that could possibly happen. Oh, if you're not subscribed, please do. Sorry for asking so much, and subscribe to all the other channels doing this work, please. Very crucial. Oh yes, Danny Masterson in prison. There is Celebrity Center. Celebrity Center's not in Beverly Hills. This is true. And that would probably give it a little more street cred. But the thing is, yeah, I need a touch assist, Scientology. Assist me with your touches, please. It's like, even if David Miscavige was not so inept, they'd still be falling apart. Even if Danny Masterson didn't exist, they'd still be falling apart. You know, because at the core of it, you got this dumbass L. Ron Hubbard who just pulled shit out of his ass nonstop and called it a religion. And that was bound to not work anymore at some point. I mean, you can bullshit people some of the time, but you know, you can't do it forever. It's completely Looney Tunes. Solo 2D. Yeah. If you see my Circle Schmirk video from Pasadena about a month ago, we talk about this, the group Solo 2D sessions in the Scientology lobby. But yeah, they're done. It's funny. And the thing is, every other day, I think I'm going to lose a Masterson. That would be funny. Oh, Miscavige would take top bunk for sure. Although Masterson could beat the shit out of Miscavige. So in a prison setting, I think Miscavige would be the ultimate punk of the entire prison. Definitely. So my prediction is now their next strategy, they've already started it actually, so it's not much of a prediction really, is that they are going to be trying to get people arrested. They're going to try to, you know, they'll have people assault us, and then 2D self-service, yeah, servicing. And then what they'll do is, like they did with Aaron, they'll be like, well, if we arrest your attacker, we got to arrest you. And then, yeah, what could be bogus? What could go wrong? And then they're going to try to get restraining orders against everybody. So it's the only thing that's really ever worked for them, the whole restraining order thing. This is why the angry gay Pope cannot join us on location, because he has a restraining order. Mark Bunker, who is on the Clearwater City Council and running for re-election, please support him if you're in Clearwater, he also has a restraining order against him And there are areas that he cannot go in his own city from this bogus restraining order from 10 years ago or whatever. So that's probably the thing that they're going to try to do. And they're already trying to do it, like I said, so they're just going to continue doing it. And, they're going to just try to shut everybody up, shut everybody down, enturbulate us. And remember, the fair game strategy that they have for SPs is basically open season on SPs. Do anything you want to them. We won't mess with you. But the thing is now, there are people at every Scientology org in the world with their phones out, making videos, and even if all they are doing is showing that the orgs are completely empty, that is a beautiful service to mankind. Because some Scientologists are going to watch these videos, and some Scientologists are going to get very disillusioned about their cult as a result of that. And they are going to end up quitting. And the more people that quit, there's, in the restraining order, there's always like a certain distance, I believe, 100 feet, 150 feet, whatever. So you probably have to measure that. It depends on how wide the street is. But I think across the street should be okay. But it depends on the restraining order. I don't think the restraining orders can be that. They can't say, you got to be a mile away. They can't really do that. But, it's basically like, they make it like we're the attackers and they're protecting themselves from us. It's the usual, mind control, mind fakery BS. And it ain't going to work much longer. It's, they are at the end, they are living on fumes. And right, Fort Lauderdale, nothing. Thanks for that. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, this is all there is. There's Big Blue, there's the Valley Org, we've been there. There are a few locations here, but this is by far the most active area in the world for Scientologists. Yeah, there's 30,000 worldwide, and then probably 10,000 of them are in the greater LA area. So it's pretty dead at all the Scientology locations here, but when you go farther away, the deadness only intensifies. Oh, really? I got to go check out his stream. 30,000 max is what Aaron says, and most of them, they're like, 30,000 is being really, really charitable. Zero activity, yeah. Well, it's not closed. I mean, it's closed up. The windows are practically boarded up and all that. I mean, it's closed on that level. But it's not like they gave up and they're never coming back. It's not closed like that. It's not like shut down forever in Hollywood. Mobile recruiting vehicles, yeah, well, the thing is, no matter what they do, yeah, it's closed to the public. I went by like 2 or 3 days ago in the morning, and they were unloading a bus right next to it. No body routing, yeah. And, when I looked at them unloading that bus, I was just thinking, what the hell are those people doing in there all day long? I mean, they're not doing sales. That's what they're supposed to be there for. maybe there's some clerical busy work they can do, but they're probably just doing their 2D flows and solo 2Ding whatever. Oh my God, yeah, telemarketing. Well, the thing is, they do telemarketing. Yeah, they're touch assisting each other, shuffling papers. Yeah, they are. I mean, the thing is, like, they keep them in a state of constant stress, and they keep them in a state of like urgency at all times. But it kind of reminds me, back when I was in college, I watched a few soap operas for a while, and every time at the end of the soap opera, you would think, oh my God, I gotta watch it tomorrow to see what's gonna happen, right? And then you'd watch it the next day, but then, and like, not that much would happen, but at the end of that day, you'd think you have to watch the next day. But then if you skipped like a month, you could catch up to the whole damn soap opera in a day or two, because like somehow they always had a cliffhanger, and somehow that cliffhanger never amounted to jack shit. And so it's this fake, like, keep you on the edge of your seat, fake suspense, whatever. Well, Scientology does that with busy work. Yeah, false sense of urgency. Exactly. Thank you. Obviously, I haven't done enough word clearing for my spirituality, but yeah, so they keep them jumping through hoops forever, and they make everything urgent. And when they do the telemarketing, like Diane from Ventura talked about with Natalie, it's like, oh, we're gonna have this most amazing event, you gotta be there, everybody's gonna be there, it's awesome, and then you go to the event, there's no event. They didn't call you and cancel the event. They didn't put it on their website that it's canceled. No, they just expected somebody to drive from Ventura, like at least like an hour and a half to get to this Scientology event that is completely not happening. And then they're like, oh, well, some SPs called in a bomb threat or whatever. No, they didn't. You made up your own damn bomb threat. Bait and switch all day long, absolutely. That's all they do. Because they got nothing. They got nothing. Okay. Looks like it might rain on me. Anyway, I'm going to get finishing up in a few minutes here. If you haven't liked, if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so for the sake of the children and Xenu and the future generations that we are actively protecting. Remote recruiting, yeah, good luck with that. I don't think that's going to be very effective, but who knows? We shall see. But I mean, the thing is, Scientology is going to try everything for the near future. I mean, until it's all over, they are going to try everything they possibly can, and it's all going to fail. And then they're going to try another thing, and then that's going to fail. So, and then they're going to get more desperate. And hopefully they won't go too far, and they won't hurt anybody and send themselves to Danny Masterson type fate. But for any of the evil cultists, if they are monitoring this transmission, don't go to jail for David Miscavige. Don't go get punked in a, you know what I mean, in the butt prison. on behalf of David Miscavige, okay? Because when you're in prison and you're getting the same treatment that Masterson dished out, and you realize that this was because you believed in Scientology and 2D bottom bunk float. I can't even speak anymore. You know, do you really want that to be 2D bottom bunk flowed in federal prison on behalf of David Miscavige? Are you going to be feeling like that was really worth it when that's happening to you? When your defecations are never the same anymore? When you have bleeding from places that you'd really rather not be losing blood from? Do you want that to happen to you because of your loyalty to this guy who would throw you under 100 buses if it could save him one hangnail? That's what we're talking about here. That's the deal. Save your own asses. The ship is going down. Save yourself. Nobody's going to save you in the Church of Scientology. It's not a church. It's not a science. It's not even an ology. It's none of that. It is a cult that gets people when they're at their lowest, at their weakest. It preys on them. It abuses them. It takes their money. And it's not something to die for or to go to prison for or even just to look like an idiot out in public for. Okay? We are laughing at you, Scientologists. Join us in the laughter. We're not trying to be exclusionary. As soon as you walk over the line, we welcome you with open arms. It's a beautiful homecoming. It's like when you ask Jesus for forgiveness, and then he forgives you. According to Christianity. I don't know if it really happens, but similar idea. In this realm, it does happen. There are people out there who were staunch Scientologists who were committing crimes, who got forgiven. And there's some people that might have to have a little review of their case because, you know, if you don't confess, then it's not really a confession, right? You know, you can't get the full forgiveness if you don't do the mea culpa. Xenu forgives everybody. If you saw his father speaking through me the other day, Xenu's the equivalent of an 11-year-old little bratty kid on their planet. And, you know, because of temporal distortions, Xenu was able to do all that mischief in what was one afternoon for them. Oh yeah, if you donate, they'll forgive all. I could walk in with like a $20,000 check tomorrow and be like, I have seen the errors of my way. Please let me into Scientology. And they'd be like, well, yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, we'll take you, you know. Look, it's a scam for the money. I did sales before, you know. I sold memberships to a very expensive dating service, and it wasn't anything illicit. It was just like, it was before the internet. And I saw how the sales process worked, you know, how you got the money out of the people that wanted to go home and think about it, but there's no going home thinking about it. Give me the damn money. Yeah, Xenu does need another one of them DC-8s. Yeah, he loves those DC-8s, you know. And back then, of course, You know, everybody wore the same clothes as in the 50s, and they flew the same 1950s airplanes, and the cars were. Isn't that amazing? Like 75 billion years ago, everything was the same as Earth in the 50s. That's really nice. It's so very, 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 very special. So anyway, I'm going to get going. Try to miss any downpours that might happen. And thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, please, please, please. And please like, share, and subscribe to all of my colleagues, the Squirrel Squad, and all of the degenerates out here covering this nasty cult. We couldn't do it without you. We'd just be screaming into a phone at nobody. It takes you guys to make us relevant. So thanks a lot. And I will be back with more, and I will see you then. Thank you.